Farmer State, no munya.
And did not Omajo, not just Omajo 30, I say
93 times.
Wow. Okay, let's go.
Ana me buefu. Ana me kasa. Ana me hu say MTN for so honum. Na me momo no me use ya chenti me outside me outside me use ya chenti no. So omo suspended this am say reactivate. Me ko duru honum so omo so catch am say me join queue. Abra me be ye momo ade no normally no nka o say mo yi momo side. Na muri mu amu be register no so side enti nipa be ade fofra na watimi aye but omo anya no sa enti andra na me sa call elo akono me ko duru ya no omo panyi ba ko bi wono de wo ya ade pa omo panyi wono je ya hwe e na o san spend day say wo stand dey ama office bi omo nti ase dey nti a ade no e ba sa no e na no stand dey ma office no e na office no omo check here no na omo say ade no ya deliver ama me dada ana mo say ana mo busa me na me say and deliver no the omo de ma me no ye wrong one but update na me buy because I also me change date of birth they want me passport so no e different and the ekuta me so ye different double identity police team say a problem because me issue double identity police bet me at him and I'm in the bank home say me the kwa misika bet me at him because me impersonation for someone because of date of birth no emfa so and I no catch am so okay me nya abotre na mbe shaman enti andra no want me anya bi mo almost say Tuesday me samra na me sambe 30 Ghana no mo nya bi afokro
na which means won't me register with sim nimpo
mint me nya hwe Bobie me problem ni na ntisi answer aka 2 weeks a me sa kwa Europe me sa kwa Sweden aka 2 weeks enti adwuma na me be no mantimi anye card nso amanya bi me time nso a eko enti my imagine say me kura me nko hobio omunfo omusem card omunfo omu Ghana ka meba Ghana dia agisa temuda me my no because andra say na amanfo hu pose SIM card no be twam and I'm say SIM card no mu di agro mu ntumi ntwam mo say nipa 1 million and a what SIM card register SIM card e Ghana na 14 na register omu block wa MCN telcos no mu be boka ento omu ntumi
anyway
me catch it almost omu ntumi nye
anyway baba all right so thank you but apart from one unya similar victims are omo complaining efasa ohawe hu like omo go through the same issues like your own
Mr. Bobie mama kan asam so omo panyi no de mama no say but my chia copying gate man
really
yes thank you me appear this year obi anim ho omo ya no our card no mind me so omo say information omo say na ba ni say na omo information so enti omo say me catch am say me cook ma say me kwa akokra omo okuma say enti me cook ma say maybe 7 days or 10 days enti me ba kra me ncha me na me san for so then enti me kwa akokra omo okuma say Tuesday na me.
Okay, all right. Okay, so Baba, Anapa Yakra from Dasi. Okay, all right, so that's it. Nimanche Lagaden, Agatara, is here on Facebook. Now, Atima will say, this before 19. I mean, in reference to the SIM card issues. Margaret Opamaje says, good morning, Commander. Okay, so good morning. Prince Osman says, Bobie, I'm watching you guys from Pretoria in South Africa. All right, we are grateful. Musa Abatwa says, I find it very hard to trust this Ken Ofori-Atta, even if he's a head pastor of a Roman Catholic church, because he's not been truthful to Ghanaians. At paragraph 61 of his own documents, the mid-year budget review statement, he he was emphatic that the free SHS program is not under review. 4 days after after 4 days, the same finance minister comes out to say the program is under review. Nonetheless, it is unfair to blame because their understanding of review means council. Confused government. Okay, so this one is coming from Musa Abatua in Kumasi. Koja Sempa Furniture Works says, we thank God for another weekend from Koja Sempa Furniture Works in Edun Kumasi, watching us live every Ashanti region. Adair Kwesi Manuel is here on Facebook. We have Maria Adams says, useless, nonsensible leaders leading us. Your Isaiah says, Commander, good morning. Stephen Fosu says, Nanado cannot be trusted. That is the issue. Neil Robertson says, good morning to you all. More fire. Chris Kwao is here with us on Facebook. Now, Kobe, this ID issues and my main comment for say and we will deal with the 10th anniversary lecture. And penny for the late Professor Mills, and they raised issues. You're only a main be dealing with. However, there are some few things we were me in Piamunkosa and even a SIM card issue. Kobe, when we say me say, but anyway, my main child, Kobe, good morning. Kwajo, good morning.
Good morning, bro.
When we say Kwajo, me say, me say akame, makoya me NI card no for like a month me, achi. Also, obo star 404 hashtag. Now I enter to synchronize your card with a phone number no. I've been doing it. We are almost say intimate validating. We are almost say after the almost say men call a year and I baby I'm a register. And look at baby I'm a take. Maybe register our class central. Maybe you know Accra Central. And just say and I have other people also almost complaining say even though people Accra no say no ne card no code no. Almost say on famra normal and sisa code no and beppem na the choir no nensan kan. But Kobe, it seems this is the situation. I don't know.
Even Mary Amadenta Nichiana na pay.
Oh just
also sa need wa register o na ni sabeka ni card no eni ne or register tama omo ye mass registration no nye enti ni sabeka ni card no ene ni papi the system is such there anka or say omo nya botre no omo decentralized system no so that the system will be available to in the districts now say cobra no it will reduce and the pressure on they themselves too will come down but as last year or no the opener and all this is also because of the pressure brought about by SLS friends decision. Look, nobody is saying it's not a good thing to register a SIM card. Nobody is saying that. But we are saying how are you running system not up to this point, you know? SAP to pro one you know, it's not going to help. A gradualist approach now over there. And the Uber to me and say your friend is saying this time no we are doing this area central region and I say western region and that kind of, but all of a sudden it puts up a lot of pressure and no pressure about that your friend is saying NIA for so Emma in that pressure they are making mistakes because say need date of birth here January and so or control February and I say February no more control January said that you understand the pressure is on them and I think say we need to step back a little bit and think this through but when you know na ekaka ko say sas niaye tititi say in fact you say tititi say omo dey call friends the parliament impose the new registration for number you know unkita Ghana card and register
that's easy
yes. And see, now quite say what to me say all these things nkrofo adwin almost say vote ninti, and what we are seeing
because voter regions say the system is very slow.
In other regions, especially in Ashanti region, very smart, very sharp, and people are getting their cards. And when you see all these things,
and there's some voter region, maybe a nipa 10. Emphasis center between register nipa 10 pair. Oko Ashanti region, another center between register nipa 50 or 60.
And the centers are more. Yeah, you understand? And the centers are more. So yes, you say you argue that Ashanti region is bigger than Volta region. No two ways about that. But still, you understand in relation to the population and everything. No,
the Awokano Stephen Fosu. I say my father's name is Stephen K Fosu, and they made it Stephen K165. That is with the number. Omoyi Fosu. How can you register his card?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And because of the pressure, here and all these things, and especially. Most of them, any card no more and the minimum sometimes it takes a day or two before, unless you are paying premium. No, you understand? So mistake was what card no Ansah na ube say mistake was because most of them they sleep no more sleep no so say details na sleep no so no. Because at that point, now they can, I believe they could have made some changes. But so one should sleep, no so now coffee now. That Baba say Jimmy card now, Uji card now, sana orsha now. Osensi form. What's that theater? This is.
You're not too abrant here. Before I job, you side my way. I just 10 minutes. Amount for more issues across the country. Money in Komokakra 0302208090. So call register NIA for how long ni MI and answer what the line move for how along in so and all those issues. Let's talk about it. In Tubet Niafre, but the next just 10 minutes and yes, Jumawe. But what experience on this matter?
But as in fact, when you're so for especially my senior brother Kobe, me who not chankasa, yeah. Because since a konya ye koni fi me hu ne bi mkra yeah yeah na pesa meka ya kwa dia na do so dia meka wonim Kwabra media me we no me anyam gwanwa wo because yes we break 8 no 8 ni kwa bi e fa so dia break you. This is one of the advantage between their break 8 and na my senior brother Kobe Kano say voter region how is slow na Ashanti region go fast. What you say would Ashanti region here true and for bofu nyina omo meto bebeto no dey 90% they will vote for NPP. Voter region dey slow masoa because automatically best 90% to beto man this it masoa there and one breaking the 8 no advantage give it manya e be the NPP na make me this NPP need to be kasa ye say dey mu and nti ade we ekoso no nyina no Kwabena wo dey me sin who say media East Legon and base ni ade ntino and no na say nyina me ko headquarters wonum e ko go for such one
obi abaso quick one me nya hello
good morning sir.
Good morning Pacho France of free
I from na kwesi me free tama
okay akwesi
masa me problem here me dey my register me dey no but me dey to sim mame the same sim now na me dey ya mame so say me ya mame o say cannot be validated.
But who there no
me dey no die successful but I say who bet me register be 3 or 4
nipa 5 wait me register nipa 5 am
5 also the same thing the register mame o say cannot be validated.
Me crowd there me there no there me kwaya ye no me am number crowd no still the same information that they mame
you intimidate.
Anyway, all right, so thank you. Kwajo
Abrante there okay me fa kakran so
yeah
me there dem me fa register mo bia me yes an na ye and one say all links me Abrante be adwuma MTN ya ode ne ho on wani mu kakra ti be organize me boys nyina dom go baabi and your friend boy no buy papa even it to no ayo bia nipa be 15 there we finish obia there man
na just an trick is wom
phone ya dey enye ono bo kura ne phone we ya no dey show picture no so about 10 minutes 20 minutes we we kakra say sabia mu somewhere dey bibi there and you gigi to on dey ene you ja ne kwan no call baby ni ya individually who boy ya na reject who boy ya the Abrante kan eti omo na so omo so yi bi wo ho no omo so I had a queue in Saudi from yes. But so to be friend now, and you would be near Bia, a more place and Omoyeno. Almost through Bino Babasheba, Bino Yama doing no matter 2 months as an uncle.
Okay, maybe a quick one. Hello.
Bobie, at you
Nyamiadum Pacho, your first of free.
Joe Ashama.
Okay, Joe.
Where can we be in a demonstration 64 August we know? Ashama. Because Uba Ashama now Uba ye card now. Would you be sure don't mind Kuha yen fee? Well, I do in a mint Tiasiano. I do in a politics to move. Would have called a baby.
No, I know a deep personal experience issues. Hold on. Make us say omo issues personal experience. Man can see a beautiful line. Everybody should comment.
Yes, it's true. And tell me what your experience in America.
So go straight to the point. Me and your time I hear from.
Yeah, card since 2018 up to now. You're quite Ansah. Me mama su ye. You're quite almost
what you know 2018.
2018.
One Sanka on card.
Up to now. Me mama su ye no 2019. Up to now, you're quite a CM Adeni aye whatever. Yes, yanko.
Remember, oye no whatever. Almost koho.
Me mama aye whatever. Almost yanko. Me wa ashama.
Wow.
Up to now, Ansah card no. Now you see, aya now sometimes uko bibi say who ya homaso, and now you say, and now you say. Eba ni se ni aye card mu na mu se nkosala ni enye ka. Yakoye card. Fa card ma ye ni fa nye de be ya na enya tamfa ko ye juma. Enu so adani bo atibiti. You understand?
2018, not just
a demonstration decided not count.
I'm say almost 4 years now, right?
Up to now, me card.
Wow, this is terrible. Anyway, okay, all right, okay. Bakojo, I don't know, enya
better so me dey say, yeah, pray on your coin. I come to obey you too. I dey one man ngem one ye nyina tie. E tell dem say e close see e date be e close at the no. We buzo Kwabena say tumu yemfa ne say Monday or Tuesday you close the whole thing na say yeah Ghana card your age be dey ana meboa yeah work all say nyema no yes your age say 14 say bibisa and also and ultimate Ghana card the foreign day or 2 days say obi so nya 50 that year no it no better no ane dey.
All right, so quick hello. Okay, my losing the panel. Love Me Dearly says passport, driver's licenses, real identification card, birth certificate, social security card, all these are classified as ID here in US of A, and they can be used in registering your phone number. This is simple. Okay, they want to suppress the people that will vote for NDC, and that is what they are doing. Okay, so Philip Nanaya, but this is Junior Mosquito watching you live from Foster Home. In fact, God will continue to punish this current administration, the Kufuor and Bawumia. All right, so I'm for raising critical issues on the. Hello?
Yeah, hello, Commander.
Yeah, first of referring.
Magna Asalbuchi.
Okay, Magna.
Commander, only say me wo final year Ukufurivia, me cho me exams. I'm a Hoko ye, me Ghana card. Only say the CN. The CN me Sanka card new.
Which year? Which year?
That was 2019. Only year mass registration.
Wow.
And I'm here. Now only say they say me we by me same way. Same way me dey koi. Me dey Uber account. And a Uber account so ultimate for 2 license open account. They say Uber same na. My account needs to juma. And omo ade no mo ye.
Na say wa juma abo.
Yes, because any Uber driver behind me for 2 driver license open 2 accounts. And Uber same respect automatically wa block account. And omo ade no mo ye no mo hwe ye na omo better am go bebre juma. Because here as a service application bebre unye juma we ya ne nyina fa ne kakra ne ye di efa ehwe ye ho. And omo hwe do mo ye no mo hwe omo ye na emboa.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Mefa last 2 callers. Now, Judy Mensah said there is a shortage of the blank cards at the NI offices. Yes, of course. Pressure about almost. Mercy Questions will be. I was told to come in the 3rd week of October. So you can imagine. Yes, will be the 3rd week of October. No, I'm imagining there. And Isaac Chum is here. Okay, thank you, Isaac Chum. But it seems Kojo, me just sure say Akufo-Addo betie and seven crofo can I doubt it.
That's one tia no na so na edin. Akufo-Addo just na so odin de mampampom fa no because the question is say wo niam a wo de ba nyina sika wo so ogigi yem tuatua yentua wo mom na na do kofa momo issue ba yi wo MTN wo nsan sika na do nyam ba money da but we expect kwadwe ebo ansan na wonti na fa una wo ni ba omiam fa enya o man no me hwa mo so mo nyam ba mo nyam mo
quick one. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Pacha first of free.
John question is from Tema alias Puto.
Okay, Puto.
You know some ready my family papa. Asa me Ghana card no Ghana card. There me bufu wo say. What me ko jala musa ha me die twesa. I was Tema. O say ha me ko Tema New Town. Me ko Tema committee 1. Me chima me yes me san kambi. Na o so be Tema masa. Dia me am ko ye me dia no me san kanu. Na obi kwa for the day me mistake not me ko ye. Me ye ma me san kam dey no a. Omo say me buy dey. Me mistake na omo mistake na ba no sha. But you stop what do you say no any mo anu a e try you. E so mo e morta we gana ka we you no kaka na we. Anai ina ko so gara sa. Ije ya la mo sa bi se ma blow. Me juma me ye no. How to mafo. Say me feel over 2 days pe. Me be hear me. Me jala musa me nyanka na ma na bibi ejima so ni ho na me jame juma me ba ade so ye ntop me ba ka kra bi na benya pata me no ma ble na me sha regima pa mo ye wa.
All right, okay, so thank you. Now Kofi Enchi Filton says Bobie that NDC as a political party understand this Ghana card gimmicks being played by MPP. They don't seem to be serious on the politics. MPP is playing with the Ghana card. Okay, so Boatiata says I did my registration and they told me they are short of the blank cards nationwide and will be a complaint. Why not Kwasi Champon says good morning to you and your viewers, listeners. Exchange program between Ghana and Israel. Okay, so let me leave this one out and I think we'll be an advert. They love me dearly says Ghanaians are very timid. Stop begging Akufo-Addo. It is your right. Just get to the streets and demonstrate. That's all. Okay, so yeah, some more. Now, Julius Coffee says, good morning. It is clear from the evidence that food is in abundance in Ghana. Tomatoes are in abundance at Akachis Yope and are getting rotten. Let's tell market women to go to the rescue of the farmers. Thank you, Dr. Usefri Akoto, for working hard on the planting for food and jobs. And I think, say no Kasano MPP no leadership no Kasano. I didn't know from no more mudia no so abenya the same problem. Yan kantre akuafo se omo nkonkofa aduane aban no Akufo-Addo ne ba omi ayetua ye taxes ma omnompo wo mu ntimi enya sika no nkofa aduane no meku buffer stock ne enya bia koma SHS for aye aduane and you are talking to okuani a fu abo say onante no ayi enti obi wo mala mata market onante nkozi ope no what nene ma aswa eniema no no mo dia begu market na ya top and you see
what's the use of the buffer stock
na intelligent
stock Professor must buy with all these things in mind say harvest time ba na niema bu
buffer stock Professor Mills
yeah. You understand?
So,
and this is more about Ghana.
Yeah. So, like you go and get those things from the hinterland and keep it so that you use it to regulate the for instance, food prices. Tama nema short no na buffer stock release it.
Okay.
And yeah, buffer stock you setting up for free SHS. Yes. No, it's
no. A food. A storage center.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But as about the entire free SHS nearby, no.
It is good.
So like the name,
but right now, no. I'm creating as if yes.
Oh, and to your number 5 and nibi, and with the free SHS, no, omunya no cheaper. Also, first part now a school headmasters, no, and a secretary for the Cotonou, Eba. So much in every woman's. Oh. Omaje na o ka che me say menko is your penko fa eni unim ade ama akufa do
and the power was your favorite 2 times so
no
no
o say akati ziope I want tomato say wo
on him dey make
I say I want aduane so if say want aduane wa now even if you talk about a friend say a seasonal harvest
yeah
June July after June July yeah they call guest mu bia aduane ba
yeah
so back to the na Kobe Kano kwara obi timetena say dwen ho say oman no ye seasonal farming ama edu ba bia aduane timi shorto ama aduane no ye timi regulate ni oma ye enti no ma menye center ebe shock absorbers ama system no na in times of need no in times of difficulty no ye yaba market ama aduane boy cost inflation e cost na ni nyina timi stabilize throughout the year na wo ba na sani pakro no na bedi akire bedi ne tumi kono no so akodi Canadian dollar e dia brew se machine centers enya across the country na akuafo ye adwuma o matimi aye na abasahare so na aduane abu na yetimi akofidi bafa stock no na wo just scan na the topic up now the koye planting for signages so the be president sani pano na adwene ye adwuma na
krono
eye jimi enya krono keke eye jimi obi o wa o ye kronfo o bokrono etimi de hwa busua mabusia eye obi o wa o bokrono no de jimi ne ho ama wa ye tantan asa de asabusia eti sani pano wa jimi straight wa nyini o wa yakola wa jimi sasi kan na ko wi ene ko di bi adwuma ene kaga na ni nya bia ya eke bia wanfa anye de omani nyina be benefit but eni paka krabi but we ska no so de kwa kope mampani adi what me straight akota free what me straight
anyway commander did you know that I paid 150 cedis on Thursday at Koforidua before they registered me and I was told to come in 3 weeks time for my card
and then some call headquarters on me call headquarters who's the headquarters of golf house actually no me hono ma me call Wednesday na me call farm boss bi airport and na the total lessons na me call fa woni fi and me call me see me pay me check the way cost no ade me call pack car ni si ho na ahwe do 2021 car enti ne ho ankasa air condition bi bi so am hye mu am hye system wonu so obi ba be bo mu se obetuma opese oboa me ana so simple some person ya and I say nipa be bre ne guara na mo a mo na me no so omo mpese obi ode ne ho ba obebre so what I betuma ne tent mama nipa no to man say what you say me be kick shot me fani out wonu say me share the see from Kwabena me check wonu say o kan mo ho ye adwuma ni bi waka ho ye adwuma ni bi ho no ma chese waka ho nye so egoro bote de me nua ne ka say obekọ wo ya DVL ya ngofo ne na mabonti na onu we office waka ho bia o supervisor waka ho ye ho no mo ba no na make sure say obegigi mpanin fo no mo ya sabiam se benya do wa wi beba ho eti obegigi nkofo ne niam nyina de ayade Kwabena sawo ma we etimi no o ye na de me ha me ne say nkofo ye gusuru we sabiam mo akro no mo de gusuru ho eti akola bi so nya advantage o so anwia bi obeda no wada te say obi awia bi de ko nanim esa de say ko no what ma say yet to ma we mu card keke ye nkoba bia e no obi ani asam Ghana ye nchangi ni din ene ye nchangi ni colors ene mu nipa ye nchangi ye adan ye ha wo say close so adan by force
fa so ben
ye benya e de na de be bre wo man ne say etum ye benya men wa card ye nya kra de na no mo amusika wie ni niema enya kra mobile money me first na me tie pa dan say enya kra pe umpe be kakra na ye no na de ba ti close so be na unsaka na anu asebia mu ko bubu to butu nyina to guye so okokuma se keto na okwa mu bubu ni nyina se na anu masa ko jonsa mu de ba nya ko se financial law to the say bia
omo ya de a
mo adwene ayi kudo ayi na wo mu ana se ayi quota na egum na
there is nothing that makes sense not a single thing that makes sense
everything makes sense it makes sense if you remember that Akufo-Addo told you said mon so me hwe enti oba be try enti try and error o di azie try and error And it makes sense. No, Pimana, okay, I need you try with you. You understand?
Onipa ogu to busa. When Ansah say can water togu.
Try and you understand? So everything makes sense.
Me or how back
the only thing that look, I've been saying this from day one. The only plan Akufo-Addo and his team came to power with was that by the time they finish their tenure, however long, 4 years or 8 years old, they should be controlling the financial sector. Their companies should be controlling the financial sector of the country. That was the plan they've come with, and that one they are executing it to the max. And also the Kanwa, Emma, yes, Kasama Kodi, baby Idris, because of that, you know, Bosia Bia to Libya or say Koji because your company banya kakra from kakra banyano and kakra wow. You understand? If you calculate the amount of money that Data Bank alone has made over the last 5 years from loans, sir.
And you may pursue discussing winning nano Eshimunti Yanko Straight and Yanko Yajuma. Live on a 100.5 now. Quick one. Yawo a year a chachu chikata on Atta Mills and then you discussed the 10th anniversary of the late Professor John Evans Atta Mills. So we'll start with chikata on Atta Mills. Atta Mills amba abaimu to enrich himself. Yanko kokuti and I said okay, all right, so Mame enka Tabia Heba Center and want some encho. Tabia Heba Center semen kancho say omo meba enti di yade malaria omo treatment ne de omo dika kra entusha omo shops ahodo wo wiase.
What I'm interested to do on this occasion commemorating the 10th anniversary of his death is to distill from his life qualities that are worthy of our attention and emulation. President Mills was a man with a deep devotion to Ghana and to public service. From his days as a lecturer in Legon, teaching both at the Faculty of Law and the School of Administration, his subjects being company law and tax law, through the time of his involvement in the reform of the country's revenue agencies, and then his becoming vice president and eventually president, his life was one dedicated to the country. He did not seek to enrich himself or his family or friends in the cause of any of his commitments to serve. His simplicity, humility, and modesty combined with his integrity, meant that he was fundamentally seeking the public good and not his personal benefits. As president, he would often sacrifice personal comfort and convenience to spare the nation undue expense on himself. He was frugal about expenditures at the presidency, and thus set an example for his staff and for his ministers and other public servants. It was never about his entitlements, but rather what the people he was dedicated to serving were entitled to expect from a leader like him. Sadly, some believe that politics is all about winning power with no moral boundaries. It's all about enriching oneself. President Mills was the polar opposite of that mentality. On the 18th of June 2008, speaking at a forum, yes, you know what happened on the 18th of June 2008 to me. Speaking at a forum organized by the Institute of Economic Affairs, he said with deep meaning, and I quote, There can be no doubt that the 2008 election is also about leadership and character, about the human qualities of the person into whose hands the people of Ghana are going to entrust their future. I, Atta Mills, bring to the table the core values of truth, honesty, and humility which have guided me through life. I believe political leadership and decency are not mutually exclusive, unquote. Like all of us. What I'm interested to do on this, I believe political leadership and decency are not mutually exclusive, unquote. Like all of us.
All right, so quick one. Togbe Afede on Professor John Evans Atta Mills. Quick one. Live on Accra 100.5 Tabia Heba Center. Okay, so negotiated benefit trust companies can check Ghana for.
Welcome you all to this national gathering to celebrate and remember one of our very own, a true, loyal, patriotic son who died in service, a visionary, a Messiah, an incorruptible tower of strength and resilience, a man of integrity, truth, and honesty, with a strong Christian faith. As stated by Nana Kwabena, the fourth chief of Esikado, who was chairman at the launch of the Memorial Heritage, the era of President John Evans Atta Mills as president of Ghana was an era of inclusiveness, an era when we had a man of character as president and a man of morality and sincerity, and to whom Ghana mattered. And because of that, he cut across many political divisions. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, 10 years on, the common thread that runs through all the tributes in memory of President Mills is his unique style of leadership. As a lecturer, in public service as a commissioner of the IRS, as vice president, and as president of the Republic of Ghana. For over 5 decades of public service to Ghana, President Mills remained true to himself, his values, and principles. He remained humble, modest, focused, and committed to one singular objective: service with integrity to Ghana above self. President Mills abhorred corruption. He was very honest and would never waver a hair's breadth from the path of strictest honesty. He was blind to tribe and sought to unite all of us as Ghanaians. To him, altruism is the best form of egoism, or selflessness is the best form of selfishness. That was why he boldly initiated the constitutional review, which invariably would have led to a shrinking of his own powers as president. Welcome you all to this national gathering to celebrate and remember one of our very own. The constitutional review, which invariably would have led to a shrinking of his own powers as president. Welcome you all to this national gathering to celebrate.
All right, okay, so Togbe Afede here. Yenkoti eye Nana Otu Srebo. Professor Mills left behind a triple legacy. Alu Africa roofing sheets, or see and country Ghana for chance papa de bodanso. Alu Africa roofing sheets, and Yabegu Egaso, Ghana for Entun Sumwe. emu edin pa mom from 0574286292 and answer 0544347023 unsa beka Alu Africa company no akwaje won chance the border so quick one straight yenkwati na otu srebo on the late
behind a triple legacy as a sportsman, an academic, and a politician. In all these fields, however, he remained a personification of humility. I'm informed that as a lecturer at the University of Ghana, where he was the president of the amalgamated clubs on the campus, of all sporting disciplines on the campus, he was so affable and approachable by all sportsmen and women. Prof was so humble as vice president to President Rawlings that the president had no hesitation in endorsing him as the NDC presidential candidate for the 2000 presidential elections in what became known as the Swedru. Okay. Fill in the blanks for me. Indeed, humility as the source of power is encapsulated in the Akam proverb. And here let me digress and speak in Twi. Asuopo or pekasia aye ntin oda fom said the nsuo nyina behwe agumu. Loosely translated, is because the ocean wanted to be the biggest. That is why it accepted or chose to remain at the lowest portion relative to all the other streams, so that they will flow into it. This humility, indeed, is what gives it its power. Prof. Mills left behind a triple legacy. Indeed, is what gives it its power. Prof.
Anyway, all right. So Nana Otuo Srebo and I Canada. The last year, but not the least year, Papa Cadman Mills, Dr. Cadman Atta Mills, on Atta Mills Institute and issues and also a buyer. Tia Nina Befrefra. Young Tia Cadman.
In view of the fact that Atta Mills Institute is being used as an instrument to sow division, to sow controversy, for self-promotion, as an instrument to insult elders. In my capacity as the oldest living sibling of Professor John Evans Atta Mills, as the person who Professor Mills designated in his will to be the executor of his will, and also the custodian of his legacy. And now, in my capacity as the Ebusia Penyin of the Nkrumah Chirba Shida Nebusia, the family has decided that we will contact our solicitors to make sure that they explore all avenues to stop the Atta Mills Institute from operating. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. In fact, Chachu, I thought of making a call to you to be part of the team, but I'm told that your record with the current judiciary is not very good. Because of you, there's always the unanimous 7. You may be a legal luminary, but please stay out of it. But finally, we will not just simply rely on the courts. I would like, therefore, to make an appeal to the court of public opinion, which I think is the only court worthwhile. I would like Ghanaians to know that the so-called Atta Mills Institute is unauthorized. It is also unsanctioned. It is unappreciated. And it's most unwelcome. I repeat, I know I'm speaking too long, but I think this is important. I want the Ghanaian public to know that the Atta Mills Institute, so-called, is unauthorized, unsanctioned, unappreciated, unwelcome. May God be with you, my brothers and sisters, in the future. It's unauthorized. In view of the unsanctioned, unappreciated, unwelcome. May God be with you, my brothers and sisters, in the future.
All right, so live on Accra 100.5 Citizen Show, 10th anniversary for the late Professor John Evans Atta Mills. And Ken Farrow says, listening to all these great men elogizing late President Mills gives me goosebumps. Osembi said about Asumasi. So Chinabi Oniwa. Okay, so I like the way he speaks anyway. Habib Sekou, in reference to Dr. Cadman Mills and before say ha and I'm not a one. And Kobe. My man says free. Okay, member free. Say, oh, my member free. Okay, so, but because you would see Chachu on the late Mills, would see Tugba Fede on the late Mills, would see Nana two straight war. Then we will take Cadman on the late Mills and other issues we are not surrounding. But particularly, no, be eulogizing the personality as we are brain on one say or pass from J and Nema Basa Basa, and they touched on moral issues. Oh, a Gama Mobasa Basa, Okrado and self and Gakola, almost when you be.
Come me as
you got chair.
Me fa kwanya so na me san chati efo bi na hwefo mo hwe ye. Kwabra wonim me first one chachu de no and the last one brother no de no. Yeah. One de chachu kasa ya na o cancel pa afa papa no no. Enko bi wo cha na kan chiasem. We the prof or chiasem de ni enim de no otimi ye. Ene de obetima ye. En hwehwe papa no wo ye de wa na Ghana e de na koma so. Meka amre bi atwa moko customs eniema okoko ye ho de wa na ni bring crop to niema se Ghana no betu anya ne puntu ene ne niema papa afra baby okan po ya me den se prof de no no family and friends ana bibisa amana dwiri mu da na amana koma mu da so be bibisu sa da e ya mpa so prof pa ni nua ba na ni so ba na wo fa be na amamu no wo mbi e Ghana fa no mo nim dia no betima ye wo mo na no mo bu man na ekoso wetima se enti ka me hu se nka prof oni one man can one lectures and bibi and I can fear do it, you know. And Kababe tobe. So what last week as a dear brother ne kana made joining me, no brother ne kana, Cadman Mills and Ameboa. Yes, the castle, they don't walk on. They know what you say. Other than can a brother and a castle, journey share pa or wagon pa, then can only one more. Then can if ananse nkanai ba bi esie no ne na so no kanu na abe tobe kanu hu na nka obi mu ade akokofu a eno no mu didi ho sabia nyaado ai gbenu wu ada na santini na timu koko ono timu kodo ho ena ne brother ne pese wo kanu anya bia se
almost say Yesu ofri eye Nazareth enso asantifo asofo eji ne ho nso a
wo mo de ne so da bia me kasa se Ghana ha senka yetimi clear asantifo asofo ne fimu a Ghana senka niam bebre be ko nanim kabajo because asantifo asofo ne corruption there wo me number 1 mo de fraud o on be di fraud so simple no we di fraud no kon baby wo timi za ko hia na wono ne be hia o ai jams as bibia o ka ho bi the Friday morning wo gina puppet tech ni abre den no match bo yetimi mo bi tra ko nyazo pagya ne 9 30 minutes na asa hohono ni e de na ba oba pe and moment on na be si obi aye bompa e mani bia na e twetwe because of as I can wait and to mo nkrofo mo ide o mo training o mo those guys say you mo fit system no pe Ghana ho beto no and ya so asi e ni friend no agrada am krati sorry dem we ma eti Ghana na wo no
agrada so dem support no
what's we ni ma part no as a genim or the agrada na be on the second na we genet ma ba you what I say
because ade agrada ye no any the otabel no mo ye
they say different
Duncan Williams no omukura no hu chen agrada that's agrada on politician bi anko wieska
David
when no politicians dey wieska
e wo bank
yeah otabel no ne friend is Duncan Williams no omni politicians dey we on my wieska ensase land gas agrada dey say dey nema ondo atene ba bi wajimi na ono aka wajimi na baba
no that wo
no aba to no dey me agrada dey wonya hwe hey my part me ne no a
okay
e dey atete ka trema so
ye ka ko
na no ye ka bozi gi no bi
ka no bi dey chire to dey so fama
Kwabena wonim enti de na brother ne ka no e ho kura mpo ne mame ho because I mean the prof de nim prof ye wa wonim legon ibia ye no won get center wonim get center omo ho no omo anim pe efie na won sa right won prof na otie the prof de nim because won say me mission adwuma University of Ghana estate e won mission electrical so me nim ne ye pa 1-on-1 ne fie me ko ne the one no otie ne ade papa ne ko wu ye enka ne dru 10 years enka ne na no ka say eye krabe hwempo keni kwa se nya simasi ana obenten same de me susu a me nsu institute do so abusuafo wo bi na no papa ko pata antokwai e wa other country last 2 years e bo na baso ada na your papa institute
enye last 2 years mpo last year almost a year program bi wo Rwanda
e ma wo koye e na make no edika no pepe na ga papa no ni from the whole institute na kwa ne kama and the lectures meet every week mo amode mo kai na mo bra na mo jai se no nti ubetime su obi na se eda form team atare white no ase no abrakura what be da na wa yama ne Professor Moses na no so utie niam course so na ko obi na so yeto na so a me mu bi wo wiase da enka president nka wo de udin be ba se nipa kro na ka de din wo so na ka de words ka crash na ka president wo na obi e na ka odin abam wo de timi bie ne anya assistant on wa assistant no me wo bi da wo na so nti anfa ko chere na kufa na obi assist so mo in terms of money and answer dey ni Ghana dey na me na say state something it ko akudi na ba no assist as what me pa special assistant and answer dey one of this ka call ya na so one of there one what to na credit so dey ba
or your summer assistant
chesa wo giri ho ni para wo wu ye ni din ma so na kufa do ti ma ko yonu abie so say onu so ntimi nka ade o se na ni hunu ade o me hu obi eso nyina ntimi anko hye na dey na mo ayi ma hu ni se na te ka bibi fa won poni uzo at least nkrofo na bi tre wo no ma bibi se ni nyina akiri mo jaba beto ni e jemu trada sa na me dia me ya ne se Professor Mos na busuani na okasa ai prof ai doctor ya wo mo nyina aka ho ne sansem wo nyina si o enka ne ate enke wo hwe chachu tie de ai togba fe de mo kasa ya de fe hwehwem sa na papa ne tie so ampa but mo timi atena ho no mama wonim se na wiase aye ne Kwabena si atu we se me dim se me ba studio ha na da bia wa awie bi wo ho a mo mfra me mpone me twam maduru ha me ba no mo yam se mpa cho de me twam na me ka ba ko na me nko minima de kra wo ho ntia aniema ye be bi wonim se na asimasi wonya bibi pa ahye ne ho asimasi ho na bia wo didi asimasi nim se program be end no wonya de no wonya be se 1 million Ghana cedis o no de ahye timi de ne ko na nim eti da bia so make sure say wo besu aye ho aye atoto ho niema menwa ono an po se bia nya do atorre ncha ba to no last year so this year ono an chocho mu nchompo de empo no wan timi pa nkwankwaje ho autopsy ya wan kwankwaje o one way free ni bear man one zanka minua otimi little we ene kan ni ba fi mu na ka ye hu ade pote ko eso otimi ko di akye ko ene po ankwankwaje but obi de up to now wo peni no mpen konso no mpen no apemu niama de ababe ya ade for what ade ande anya sika na sasabi senye bayiye ni adwomboni ade na otimi je obi ade si wani so sa e ma the whole world obi aka ho asem ene so ade ai ene ono so na busuafo no so me sa mi wo so me dwuna mo amentiase abusua mutimu mu de hye egu mu animu asese ti mutu mutimi ngasa sanya bia ye no ye fifa voter region Krobert no fi mi se anke Kwabena voter chamber bi krofie ekro no office no nti tanyigbe fo no empanifo no ntimi nka bibi nkyeze wo say ye din dodo wo tete ye dodo eye gya abusua na de ma omo no nyom ade opon so ni ye adwuma ni nyina achi no wo ntimi nga bibi sa
enipa ni bo a wo ntimi ntunofo e ma na nye yi because obi akonane dollars kakra e de akire no se no nipa ni hu bi da so abusuafo de ba so no
enti me pa prof abusuan no chew de me ka chew me yesra wo mani de no obuo mu prof edin wo gya ne ba bi ofi ba ne hyehye o ye ene ba bi even obefa ndisi party no wonum say ndisi party no anke Kwabena de wonim bibia ndisi party so first na langas wo mpa na to trasem wo papa wo di agro ko ndo be fato no omre fanya de keto forget it aye was we so gone me car do the Rebecca do te time na ade bo mo abu ye nya de keto wo ana nya so mo bu keke yo meku so ato akre prof timi ba ndisi mu ebe lead ndisi ama ndisi mu ye hwamo ama John beto ato no metima ka che se wo pe party papa wa Africa wa ndisi wa nyi first oba yi ni second ye mu dure mu nipa bu ade mu nipa dure nipa ho e mu nipa ni mu hyehyɛ ndisi ni first oba di second in Africa. What am I say? NPP and ye portray and say Sabia nyado. Ye ni bibi adwunu say e ho na langas ne kwayi ni nyina akodi nsamfu ni nyina ho na akwakodina. E depend leadership o. Leadership na this anema we nyina aba.
Leadership is very important.
I tell you Kwabena. E prof leadership o ye na this anema we be. Enti ade na prof naso da bia na obi akofa ho asem aba. Na prof na say e boni din di kansem papa. Etoto niema ma obi wo ba bia o say ye nya president bi oba be di yeso a Sabia nyado o ma na o ma bibia ko smooth. Ogina obi bia ho do obi abeka bia na o mutie efam aba. Na edru so pe na se edru so ye ko bibi sesi a wo be say hia oyonko na ogina nkwanti esu. Wuchu twe ne kra ncho o se menti ase. To be set prof abusuafo no say emra bia se court kra na so obde ko no mo bande say so bo twam kra na say o muti say wo bo prof dia
bia na me wo issues with the president Akufo-Addo say papa panimu at your age unim amamre ni amane na say bia wo free ba no so kra no mo na mo say munim amamre ni amane from chini mo na
yeah
mo na SEO na sabi obi enna eso se state no kura ye bibia abusuafo ntimi enka se de tie ni aban ntimi nka se de tie ni de amre nam ni enti busuafo fuck off
there be ni kwate si
eni se papa panimu ti se wantimi ni abusuafo na nkonfe na ohwiri kodi kokoyin do wa akwala na chi a ono yemfa na se onim hwe na de wo ye bia no wo di state ekata wani na one no ato ya mamre ne ya mane atwene na aka kakra
aka ni pi
me kokwanyi do kura de mefa ne se onim nyansa anti Akufo-Addo so onim nyansa
Kwabena eno anu aka no eno na make us a leadership ka ho nipa na odi ade na anim no adwena wa dwene ne de woni trim ro de ya bibia wan hwe obeto ade man kwa no de be konje because a prof ade am akokwa yesi we 2024 and this go to 2024 election after NDC become Obaji Ghana so we say so mbubutugu no me ni papa mu kra say busuafo ni timi di court emi abubu because untimi fa mu di ma meguso ni ade hye na o hye fa mu cha wo sesan na nka wo kan na Akufo-Addo nka mra esu aka ba busumi mienu na wato nsa na hye mama na ya frɛ wo abusua na mam say pepa me no mo trans say ni 10th anniversary ne ba beduru no en hye ba na pese ye ma dwene wo mitimu ne mo so dia na mo so mo wo se hompo ni eja na na se ne komu krom ana mo pese transfer ne ko ba bi foforo obi anfo na dwemra ne nyina nya nhyehye we susu ade agi vote fi ho we enfa vote bi ama enfa bi ama e de sabi e de animonyam na eba me ka sa tama prof to na mo a no omo so ndisi wo so Dr. Dokofo defense ministry no so no see almost finish ansa na fee so ye bi anom ko frɛ Dokofo ba ye won nsa to ni ko mu amutwa pictures o ma ne kasa bi eno na de no wage film why what frɛ Akufo o ma Akufo ba oni ne yes ane ma we na de na age film say NPP for nyina sorry almost say interchange kase esi we na nado na yeye the sipoku as we na nado so onye interchange bia tema motorway runabout was one oye onye hwe ubie na yeye ho niema no e na Fred Joma ma se me nua kuma ebra anya bia mpo sabe me kubolo me ye se me wo ntema na kemetima wo which is true that mo kokim bu na ko be wo Joma ma so simple what you say and nka wo Fred John and wo nisa tun ko no ni John ye program na nka dia na aba and na nya obi ono nya entity ye bi ofie se no na wo pro na no e ga no e kubolo kakra what you say e no betima wo ntem ye ni mo mpie ntem betima wo ntem e no mo wo ofie asabi program say wo mo no timi so mo chefie wo mo chefie ono da bia ko school ba wo ko dofuom ni ne ma wo trompo so wo hu obampa na odwane na na mo na abo wo James obi akobox pan e die be no anfa mu bi what you say akotolante onum ni bibia oye honum so na wo ye bibia to betima wo John say the American so at the end of the day na de na wo nya ntoto wo ye bibi ni pakro no cha ase no wo frɛ na ne ya enye hwemfi mu o eno po be raise you say oh at least wo won ka ye mankrofo
but I think but I think say be attention will be an Akufo-Addo ani je ho
no tension no so de Akufo-Addo ani je na ani je ho no eye opposition for am na ma na ani je ho so opposition for some do na si honum especially your leaders of parliament members omdo na esi form and omo Akufo-Addo kam ne da mu temi ne da Akufo-Addo kontimi nya ka to ne dom na de no ye pɛ no abiem mu ye pɛ no abiem mu ye no abiem and go support on crofo no mo ya de no so at the end of the day bia na do say no be and na do won say niema bia nko ye bia no tukwa wo ho apart from prof adia no be bia so yi but attention will be otukwa wo ho what man say na do atra watna kro we mu adwasafo ni ha unim say obebie obekoye shortcutting one adwasafo constituency and we national something and we municipal hon omoye national something wo twa ya ma adwasafo beduru ye friend day no aduru say obabe entokwa hu kwa na nkola yi na no na adwasafo go who say hoso no dominate with na sorry ne papa sorry no no omo so do move to double ma wo the adwasafo ye nyina omo support no
yes
I'm telling you and no tell me join this no
what
and no tell me join this so omo sagigi aso adwaso no mo so ni mu kakra mu nyai no na no nke Bobie yeah now so because of ABCD ya to so be say nyina don dey adwa walusu nti esa adwa nkota fie ne nko ba election I can assure say match akebe ba so no enye nkola match
no
what and can enye nkola match crack and this in team fun is hard because if for Christmas afofo no and next Saturday so mu nyina move to obi anya djuma and next Saturday eto mu nyina one side I don't dey no na ko ho na wo ko ho no atem di ankrofo di na ho nya de ketwa
really
and I'm telling you Kwabena and this for antis omo yes ese yakoto aba be lose ntie so enti enye se yenye krokro de John won tram sa no kaza mu to ne clean baby ontimi win se NPP na kaza no afro obi the color of NPP no enye obi afa wo ka senkan na do koya yi ba umia akoya ono so wo de ni so bibi so enso yi do koya wa yi hoyi
Ahmed can say be na no Kwabena say na wo ha Ahmed can say they are being tactful because
we should make sure say
divert you know is a very important the point is that kojo omo ni say the way MPP for time adwo ani no na omo nim so say ye Akufo-Addo na ma adwo yes the oye no omo mpese omo mbekwa yi adwo adi
the question so say parliament rules are different from Akufo-Addo appointment or it Akufo-Addo dey na different obi te Akufo-Addo na chese odne so ade so Kwabena me da vet you wouldn't so ade so nye ye wouldn't say I Ghana ministers na ofa omo no Ghana business o ye nyina ye rechem ye taxpayer payers money dey reach omo ka wouldn't say MP na so anya ko ma no so yare 1 year ba chief tenant wouldn't say hoso da hosa adwo na ehwe ne ba we so yare o yare anya by force and once offer mama 2 months near that we yare o try what you say they say who say who do ministry so ntimi na house akwa enti sebia mu sebia nya do me yi what nkare me do obi fufura ba come now na wie e hoso da ho down pants na ahemfi ya mo ye mrantu asam ye niam nyina o mo ni leader what you say o hini ya go na Akufo-Addo na dey face wi satan na papa na yare na dem o so hini na o sorry o ka na adwene no
so many
so ho no satan say no leadership ministry bia no e chane so any a chane so offer say ni by power chontie say etim na duro no masa wutimi kate so that the same time last year ba this year ba intimi ntiase na me lo bibia camera zinya ko off won ne kasa so masa de o kan kra entrasu me ko be fie he mo so me enko wo kasa na minister bi ho ne ko di kan ne kasa say ni na be ba so timi sell nyanto bo ase ma ya en kan ko yi ana na Akufo-Addo no e ho to sa ministry in da was and once Ghana no timi sa ade cha na ade asa o mo na obusa ken ehifa ne benya bosia ni apabia di ni apabia no asa we have a etianu pe na Akufo-Addo team. So the question is eniema papa prof baba ye eniema kama baba ye kana na Akufo-Addo nso ye bibi na jadi papa tonti wo de on panifo mo kasa yi won do mo kasa nti Akufo-Addo na Akufo-Addo won kire bo bewu ade no nya 7 Bible mpo 70 years until after that the aka nyina we engi time na wo bo and one in 77 in politics maybe 80 in normal age ana meboa.
Yes, sir.
Something like that. Because to be able to do the right one by Africa for. So, Kwabena, send another new pa, near Senko, Enko, and the lecture, Senko Casa. At some never come for another. You better have a Sun Studio, say near debates and another, or by what you say, we send an hojo, or to 2 near my year, my gun is cousin, and no big £12, £1 and $1 crap, Kwabena Bubuja. And not say, baby, 8 something dollar mumu, 9.
Wow.
Dollar on 8. Well, Remo or Kakona be Biaja back fan then for
the end of the year.
So the question is another way. It was China be another niwa. But dear never can fan home. And yes, will be when can achieve as somebody. If your child will be tribute to my Macabia. Who better go Yakan and pass off no. Shan so much at you can pepe or Ponsan Kola Morgano be a prof be probably different. Upon Sakofobia or Yajuma, your mamma baby Yajuma, young one suba obey you for in Anton Che. See a becassa near my pass away, no one pemma, no one yet say no, and near my Moran near my now Kakan, Kwabena, Prof. Baby Face. Who went much as a professor must Babette Sanson, or be to be pick point is a prof on Emprenier. Niwe. Kofi dia wo dia do say ono atmika ade fefefefe wo dem jam ko ewe wo mani ntwam nko ono aka bi bo ne ho safo hene wotima say so ade on the day Kwabena de make kan say anya bi ade kafa e prof ho no ye beti aka fa obi ho ana your university Thomas wo betima ka project me bre afa ne ho ye wie pe ne ade ne niam kakra de akova no anya bi anana de ne be kafa ho ana mesa wo me kwanya ne se ne na da fam na sem koka na na kira asem a eniam a mo yi krono akese nyina ese utimi training nyina na Akufo-Addo be se no de Ghana be fa so ekwa we no ma Ghana kokodure eti Ghana for when ye kaya de betimi da ka na se na no ba ya se bia musa bia nyado ogi gate mu se mfa gaze impra emra ye busa no question ntimanga prof would never prof ye busa no question straight well musa obi ano antwa nani e no answer na Akufo-Addo de say emra so abeba emra no so pe say baso bebaso say bibia no na ba ya eyi prof no wo kwakwa ne naso yi ade ne yagi ho NPP for de ne yagi ye ni hwa yagi afim ene ye party metima ka chew we alanche Martin minister primary say ko no be wini wo wini a ade a akwai lucky ni san grofo no makara obi amunye du san ko be third and your own position third yeah do mo so ade so ade o ya for mo me lead ade I'm telling you today. Well, winning hands down, but to win Ghana, so the Jesus Christ be flag bearer of NPP, the next 2024 election, it will never happen. Ne papa baby give them be miracle be juma people wo mo be vote ya. I'm telling you Kwabena. Eti ye high who side we bread na dey break 8. There wo ye nyina and NPP wo ko nya vote na fi. Kwabena me se na no me kokuma na se me wo kuma se ne ade mo. Wo kuma se pa na wo busa grofo question. Abandodo na anto omo mbeto so meto tia nana. Ombeto tia ni NPP asabai. Ti Kwabena we ehim fa ne ade ne age film ya obi awu a obrempon se awu a na chi nsam kwa toto ne fefefem na de omo anu omo nkasampo ndisi mu no ka John ta no abekasa we no abekasa bibia kama mu wia no de di agro no man mpo ye enka bo mu wom na mpede sa
ono de eja dem ana ope
ana ope because minimum this for no mo call radio station yetimi ye de se ko ye wia na nyina akoto kenka na mo na ye di na fefefe na ntu din jo mama ntimi ni agro etu ntimi ni ndisi mpanifo ni agro wotimi nye program omo mma bi na nye fe na wotimi one day wotimi akazo me ba ne kofo de nem se ni se ba nye se na tie it changes aba se me pa mo chawo mo fa bibia nche ne ntoto Ghana kama na no a review of a free senior high mo am be ka say review a che mo se da bi en na mo sa be ka biem san krofo wenti wu san krofo do mo bu mai be yi Kwabena se 2 years aka si an hwe ya abo bi be che yi ojidi abo bi betima chi ni pawe na de am ya ne se wo na ewu no e be se 60% ndisi fo na ewu NDC for because NDC for there. Bobo John say Ghana, you know hand to mouth. One day, you 99% of my NDC for. I'm telling you. And more man so more do hono. Akwa NPP for. And they say they will be anchor from and more form for naka for more. And the war no move. Me but say a year time you don't want to go become. Me quite ye burning NDC for ye. NDC for no wood do. A community atete. I make us a more dear Mukako, you know, or make your making microphone better phone for no, and Koyi Consuls chairman, one also to uncompleted building. What about it? A Nini Pabia or no to be more from Kakra, a Kwabena count 9. Maybe say be fear say, Nancy in 10.3 years are 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and I'm cron home. Because me, I demand man also make Jama dear. And now by this time, I warn my name going in a higher ma. And people for goose say, we know, Kwabena Yabre. Ghana for me and people also my email to agree. Or Mario, you call election me to 20, what also say?
What's it?
Or Mario, what also say? You know me here.
Mentidi Okan.
Or Mario, what do you say?
What say?
Me Busao. What is?
What say?
What lose?
What was Wasam?
Me Busa Corona was programming. Me position Marina. One channel in Raya was West Oregon. A hot for the amount Mariso. There be made by meaning before. And yet, sham one shiny power for more. At a tia one shiny power. And none of them catch. And this for Mamma when you sing for Cotetao. A politics now reward be any as rewarding now. Eti munyi nkrofo metima bo nkrofo so no say Kwabena good and on near first vice we betima hwe nipa be 500 you know we beti say alagi scenario we ya nkrofo mu good me be say ni fie why ma aye just 24 hours we so be ebo ni on radio enya bi alagi scenario o mongo fie enu onu abayire eye ni nsem o give anti what man say those things as munyi nkrofo metima bo nkrofo pon say party interest supreme no adende munyi nkrofo metima bo party no election ba be koso Kwabena enya sa before the way no na nipa wu dozo because me timi transfer time me timi Kwabena me sika me ka be 5 to 10 cities me via no ekwabi abu apa nie ana me wu say eti na mo amaka ye mo ma begu me wo ye chi me se me ka timi si ho me wo fie ye timi ba bebu sa me ba no se da ofifie no ma impo aso ka si ho me ni ba me che dem ho Kwabena hu kire ne so eti me die ni na wo de Akufuado ama ababiode ye kuroi ena oman ye nkokwe eku bibia nye ba de de ye ena se hwe ho se Kwabena be fa so NPP no ye betima pam omo for at least 20 years ahead of us na Ghana tima to ye eno ane NDC for betima to niema ye NDC ni bi onye bi omunyini fi ho enkofo no mugu parliament so mtimi ye more changes national election be to ye so mtimi ye changes NDC wu a wo wu nyina NDC nkoye nyina gina wo national organizer so 67 pocket without nothing. No, but I'm coming. Would let me talk?
Okay. I don't think say this analysis about Akamba is fair. And you know and you
know the boss me buy out say engine there machine be so be engine in your fault pe move what man say engine papa na type I bet we twa fa so Upe na anu me kwa ba bia me ba na sum ni adare me ta pa me twifa so engineer ho de me say rem me ba nya ba papa nipa won pack ma to rem fufuro e de ahye to me kan say and this election ba be Kwabena do ma dru ba bia so any say on automatically we champion man we flag bearer and this ni bia no betri na ko benya 3% etu on de ato aba ye na wie etu on so nya autocratic leader kakra on picking nipa kakra anchiche position ni mo hey me pese fifi ko secretary asi edu so ni we ko chairman mu mienu fan ko peso do be di oni your friends free anchor ko organizer mame hey wo ko youth mame
because when him say asuma okay onipa ode eye friend say rojo e ko strong room ho edi jon ewu
thank nyanko ko nshiraw
edi ade ni ko wa wo so fo ani hwem
bi destiny
and the future
of the country yen nyina future na kechem yen nyina ya komade yen nyina na kechem ene rojo kokko no muti wakoji ti a biscuit tu a we no gina ho twen and onim de him nipa me ensa say yesi yen kokka sam kire we na lectures mpoka ho na omu nyina aka omu kof kasma che John mo be ba na de ne krofo ne ko what man say so I then the Kwabena de me kan say election be koi o mampani dada Dramani mama onye selfish kakra o make sure say wo be yin krofo de lead NDC and some people are near Keka. Any 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah, I mean, allegation be bring me here. Any 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we ain't for the Dubai. Omo Jomoni first hotel no them. Omo aji because omo sensan niema anya dollar de ko. Wo ba me kon so say ya was West Oregon. Ask yourself secretary no wi. Secretary no ya say memo omo nsabi omo nyintum. Omo nyina omo di ntokwa na dwo no a election gina on stand still say anopa ne nyina hu de be. Omo nyina ko fie omo ta ba back. Secretary ni ya who's on your no kwa back or sign for the constituency and or sign for the parliamentary candidate. Some microphone will be in America says, or will make it sure say they will make sure say microphone be my you system, no system network unless that Kwabena minimum who say yes I had ya medium doctor when this best alcohol when this phone on one bebre small sigma bebre na dey be anam the Miami Samuel Ku office and am the way I remember one day na me twam and we found office so say we na about 11 and we for Kwabena me what hospital me party phone be ni mo. Now share kuku down for Gasa and this bank or any crowd near DC. One of the two will be 1,000, 2,000. Sandy Power and what trust him. Sam Crofo way more. No more me and my summer mocha. Where dear on 1 year next frag by 1 year nickel, Sammy the Empress and Hoofy, who make sure them project some and one a young Crofo yo. Me bubo dim hand Crofo as me more but make canal if you would you wouldn't say me but two hobby. Maybe NPP him quite people office I mean mistake. Who ya there were hot and I do 11. And I want to so when you envelope can with go and I share white to say to go one no bonkomo no the amount don't bonkomo no the amount and omo go I say a hospital and go for visit so Kwabena Sanko for we party that's when to put to your man to nwa e be no tima ko anim eti bi me catch John say ba bi obi an pen check say nkoman and this na otimu no NPP for na nya na ka John ko ekosu an ke be wo no and this na otim ko for be brain peto be ko na anim it also make sure so be clear Sanko for no hey ayi afọ communion Kwabena Japan mo Nana Kufaru who's and Grofo man she am in kono. Wa clam nya no koi. E dey na dey buy. Make sure finance you now so na clear the perfect system nim. What am say ba ko bi am dey chat o. Case bi ban ya John na tie onim akwa bi an nipa bi a one of the boys satam a buy COVID-19 issue buy no. One of the boy ko giska bi. John tie that dey when di. Make I onim former president. Onim an di. COVID-19 vaccine buy John tie when di. John sun ya eso be den. Abasa panimu nkasa panu dua matemante sa akola iso agade yi wo be ne de se ye di ne ko sa na ekwa na eko me ma no be se be sa ba bi me kan akola no tifio so tie nyame hira no
one for the bro. Okay, so Bismarck Bobie sending a message. Was Bobie NIA is currently hiding in Ashanti region doing cards for the MPP members. They are not hiding. Bismarck, they are not hiding. I mean, they are not hiding. Omo ya adwuma pa wo de machine okoko omo stronghold register nkrofo gidi yes omo ye omo de hide why dey ade no bonia no moody so I mean that's it anyway Maria Adam says okay so 2024 NDC team mission involve Anita the so all right so Maria says will be not only a come about woman organizer and youth organizer and also asem wo mo na chairman also de mo kan say na me de mo de na eka anyway obi say Ibrahim Washara say £1 10.38 wow anyway okay so this one from a year Chachu on Mills to
Togbe
Afedo to Cadman what means when you that yet see yeah Nancy
me the whole program mama check here for ncha menu Kobe hu na che papa I said that in what it ne kodwo eboa kodwo de eja Mansa Kojo, Makojo, and I also ne Apamfua, Mudi Jumasobo, my Ghana. Mamincha a offer Akila Mincha Nananuma Himfu, Quabra, Kami Bubodia program Bepon, it didn't what the list is so tall, Nananuma mine in Nananuma Tankunya, Nana Crobia Tian in Echikakra. Me cheo bibia wa santimem me chia minua no ma de hye nyina cheo bibia Kwabena me tie Professor Mills lecture no twice in full and particularly no me said that could tie ora chachunko so de no if I'm very addicted to listening to his voice and so I say, me I'm a flip phone. I'm a tin in a penna. I'm glued always to want to listen to him. I'm not singling him out, but every one of them had a very fair perspective. Yeah, it's not an adulterated word. I to say someone my embellishing me man fe adokodoko sem I say o some kind trudo yemfa bibia mfremu I say bi o wa hemfie na wa unim say ohene say bi hwini ni trim na o se oyi na nyansani na o se ade yo na so na so o se awonyo na te se de akufo do nkofo na ye no enu bi no enye no na esi wo Professor Mills lecture na say. Now I summarized the whole thing into just about 5 arenas. The perspectives I may find human discussion in free, you know. The first one had to do with his traits. Nini Pesu, Professor Mills ni Pesu. Na Nini Pesu ni muno. Ora chachu bo enyoma. In fact, all the speakers, all of them, are more touchy on the moral personality, the morality. They touched on him. In fact, Kwabena, when the issues about, I think it was Sewa Bruni issue, you know. Yeah. And me ba studio Hana me can say, I'm not that type that likes to discuss morality. Yeah. But me sabe retracted was studio ha because after having thought about it, I realized say enya de ehu hia say yetimam na yebeka say me no say me na epoku ebi ana oba timi ayi mahwe ho enu ntino me nka masem. And I think say the reason why I came to apologize and retract my own statement in respect of myself because morality is a very important issue when it comes to leadership. I may be a common floor member if I'm immoral. Fine, I am me personal. But the moment I be immediately, I may imagine say me co public office no. My morality must always be in the question. Sentina usa na yam fan so we are enkwamu na mo so normal. But say obey papa. Yeah, we know you know matifie. Yes. Now that's who we are kwamu na mo a problem. A problem. Because you are the leader. O chen kwala achreboni. Sir, o yire eye nkwasi wa anu ayi nam na de akose adwae. I am you dare. No akori. Okori. Oh, Kwabena. So morality idea ehun hia papa. Yeah. And all the 4 speakers discussed Professor Mills's morality. Morality comes in several facets. Enye ma penko. Ni nipa su oni nipa enkita hudie. Senior, the first golden rule to life etieno. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you. In fact, that is the only reason why our friends and our brothers and our worshipful brothers have always believed in that symbolic word. Say, Ade na wo pese ye bebo na wo de okobu obi. Ade na wo pese ye bedi watem na wo de wudi nkofatem. Ade na wo pese oman esika obi be fa akodi na wa fa oman esika na wo kodie. Ade na obi fa oman esika wo de ye japade ma oman ni nya so mfa so. Na wo de wo ba ye no wo mfa se esika ne nye enye abusu esika enye eka abusu esika kamu ni bi. Because sabi oma eno na tebi ni enim de tie. Professor Mills ema eno ni enim se ni kurom tie. Oba ye no anfa oman sika ankwa ankotiti ni kurom. In fact enye NDC for kra na koye sa library ne sa e-block no in his memory. Menya sure say nka bibi wo ho a eye so particular and symbolic about Professor Mills's government. Efa onwanu ana Kobe, is there something that Professor Mills built in his hometown?
Not that I know of.
You see,
so
you see,
self-glorification. No,
selflessness is a key when it comes to morality. Obia, uhuni who say, for example, people have always said, "Say, enkroma beye mampenino." The jacket a shano ni suit ni bibia ni atromu property of Ghana.
Yeah.
Property of Ghana. Send your Ghana schools books. Yeah. Yatro I embossment and a symbol now. Nana one entire in them property of Ghana. That in itself no expresses an opinion. Say Nipano. What they can't jinyamia seme di say. Me ye Christo ni die. Me ba man fashiama. Me kwa men fashienko. Ene wo mu wie sika omu ni mu nyansa ni nyina no kwabra omu ntime nwen nkwa kire se wo kwa wo fa hwenko unim
but almost wo fair idea what they are doing because almost better system no we are on minor and mom benya bidie enti almost ntime nya omo abusua abro that is the next 10-20 years. And that is the only way they can keep their legacy.
Let me tell you, and that legacy, no, Opa share all through their lives. Omunyina ni mamema. I will discuss this topic in future. Nyankopon echi omuka. Omuni mamema. When the bedi na de. Je o baba ma no kura wa anye no. Akodi baabi. Akodi system. Anu nti kura no na wo bɔ no. O papa be wiai o de o papa ni tiri yeye onya mema mienu ko na enkoye na so wo de no hwan na be hwe so e be kwa kodi wo o mama ekununum ho e kwa abusia foforo mu o hu se nyame atwa oka yakopo twiaka and ay onsen ato so a te se de top Professor Mills so no yesi ya fa free so amawa Intimi. And until Yankopon and my Professor Mills, and who ne say, or Beria say, or Besson. She had a life as a lecturer, she had a life as a commissioner. Commissioner on the JJ tour. IRS, that time you can't IRS. Nay, your friend is saying, GRO. And ne, she amisha dia brabo, she cofintia brabo. Our boy as a commissioner. Now, she previous commissioners. Nipa do was saying na omatimi enya din ya so the extent to say Professor Mills there. As commissioners, as lecturer, she nipa enam ne nsaso. Watimi atete omo eno na mene eslo wusu ne ebetwebe kokon ya enam so ma mekonya oyonko. Me papa, my godfather, the late David Lamte. Ubekai.
Yeah.
I was studio Asempa. And such is the character. Ono watiti nipa pi. Ama omuso so ene omasebie. Eslo usudum. What must I say? And at that time, no, they didn't attempt. Na me say, "What's a papa na born one? Or no, they were born or they are children now that hey." So this is Obia. Sabi okone creative, but his light will forever shine. They touched on humility. They touched on your friend is saying not buying. Particularly when Tobe Afede was speaking, not Oka Hawa or Ma all inclusivity and now inclusiveness. Ebe
priority.
The hallmark.
Yeah.
Say etimi ntena mamu say NDC ababa mu na ye de NDC fon kwa na bebu man wa bra ebi a ukọ MPP mu a obetimi anya nyansani bi a obi a ne nimde no osua bi a engoma fa ebi a baabi te se bi a apomuden ho sanipa no ebi a ye ni bi wa NDC mu ebe papa say beto sa fresh sanipa kro no na odini nim dia be boa o my Ghana say no because of Ekufodo born ni ne su by born into no akoye se sade na Professor Mills here no NDC ni bi party in fact me party
father for one the ogo can say NDC for babu
yes me party but it is morally upright to have a father for all which of course said your mama be mampania onye mampani ma NDC nko or your mampani for Ghana. Unless you want to limit him to mampani for NDC, then you are trying to rather shrink his scope. What must I say? But so your man penny for Ghana there, or your man penny for Ansah for, or your man penny for Abodan for, or your man penny for Ansah for, or your man penny for Bia, including a Kufa Domunina. What I say? So that trait, you know, and yet bad trait. Nemo nipa boni bi ya da money who masha ne ma. And one must had no abeye adia. Enya de papa, enya suba papa, I was say others emulate. Which of course, because of Nisuba Intino, Mesosono, I've come to buy or no Sunisuba and Bonnie say, I buy for Flobia Bebiano. Won't try to emulate it. Say the Beya, Sebi, a tit for tat to teach Ghana a lesson. Kwabena, almost I can Nisubia a sincerity. Professor Mills will tell it as it is, without recourse to say, Meka, I'm a Medimatem, and I say Munimatem. Even at some point when he was sick, he was, very playfully discussing his condition. Playfully. Meka say Kobi Kobusa the question. Kobi okay. Yeah. Ne encounter with the press. Yeah. Now, you can see from his voice, and someone go for kafane hono, onukrano, why are terrified? I've forgotten your question, but he just what was it about?
I asked him if he had plans to clean the judiciary as was being speculated.
Yeah.
No, see, stand there, look at my face. Do I look to you like a cat hunter?
And you see
that comment came from, Dr. Kwabena,
the late Kwabena.
Kwabena had spoken about the need to clean the judiciary, and people asked him. I think a radio station asked him how, and said there are several ways to kill a cat. So that was what Prof used.
Antenna, I used to call you kill the cat, yo. Oh, so Kwabena, that in its, Emma Professor Mills stand out uniquely. In fact, enuna amama hu se sa ahunimu no o pass no on as a baton to ne successor. You can see, sir, almost everyone you talk to. In fact, the last time crowd me and Casaminua a penny killer. Asima Oka. Papa no too gentle. We too gentle. I don't know. And it has become a dear, I say, Okoton Wanoma. The way Professor Mills Huni Hono. No one that said time I open flag bearer, I running mate, against all odds. There were so many of them. He singularly, and even almost say Prophet T.B. Joshua of blessed memory, and I recommend it, say Uncle Fa John Mahama. I don't know how true that is, but you can tell, say, of necessary pepe, except to say, Ura Mahama, he has overlearned his boss. That's what I think. Say he has overlearned his boss. Then I come to end with the two other speakers, Nana Utio Srebo. Oh, you see, let me put this caveat. I love him so much, Barbara. I criticize him because he could have done better. Having read his script, having listened to him, having analyzed his script, I'll read it. Kwaranti unim say sasu we nyina ya de ye papa na untimi nto akufado fo unim sasu we say a characteristic of a leader, a president for that matter, and akufado live contrary to what you claim to be a quality of quality leadership, and I want to akufado fo. And I'm also so and I'm going to do odium. And I also mine. I know just about Sabi Jabehine. What the Jabehine for a fear duonu bakuni a 51 years.
For all you know, Omoka, but the Kufado that you and I know, Omfa.
So what do you do as a council of state, Penny? Kwabena saa suna ɛwɔ mpanifo bi ho sɛ meka wontie enti wo tena wa ka ma ontie ma na sɛ man no ama wo ɔhene no ɛnyɛ ɔman Ghana sɛbio ɛna ɛbɛsɛ ama ɔhene no wo de wo nsɛ yo ɔman Ghana sɛ ya wo timu bi ɛna bi a wo ntɔ petro ebi a wo gi coupon enti ɔmanfo ne su no wonte wo sɛ giska kwa sa kɔtɔ Land Cruiser na ka wo nana hwɛ baabi ɔman yɛ kɔ baabi ɔman yɛ tete ayɛ sɛ kontebe na wo te hɔ as Council of State pani yɛsɛ yɛ ma mo Land Cruiser mo makɔdam wo nana de na wuni sika bɛ na wunya no wi ase hwɛ wo nsa ase hwɛ wo wabɛ hwɛ wabɛfuo the whole Ghana there is nobody a
anyway sɛ
hwɛ
ɛnya wo ha me hono ma
obi ani wo wo
asokore no no ho dwabe
hwɛ
go fi dwabe no ho ewu adako
what I say hwɛ owo mmefuo che obi a wo Ghana ha owo enwo factory owo ono ani dia o na brabo a wabɔ no ankasa na hunim. And so sometimes when you look at such a personality, yeah, I can say kono na buama progress eba no. Omo ya counter progressive. Because what to me can stand when you for professor so. Now to me can qualify no. Now to me who same with this Akufo-Addo ya wabesi ensu ikoko kire kan ya. Na te say wo kan hu bi no man na say ye. And that is what hurts me so much. The last but not the least is Atta Mills. I hope some kind of correctly. Atta Mills. These are just 4 words he used. Unauthorized. Just to say it's unlicensed. It's unofficial. I just say, and it's a crime. I will give you an example. Georgette Ami de Dejaba, my sister, external to Mampong, a Fifefie, and then to Somenya. Ami de Dejaba died. I was commissioned by a family member to go and sign something at the Register General to have a memorial your first organization in her name. I signed. It got to a time I saw that no, I was not fit and proper to have signed that document. Even though I could just easily have said, I have recused myself of a new man. I think, say, I mean the deja batiasi, I mean, my yamano. If you can't come in your what must I say? I've recused myself just because Nebusiano and who hear me. Send me medin to Yababa Bushanim. Yeah. And you know how the family loves me. I don't mean Paul. Even by extension, she is my blood. Because Mamponi Mame Sabi Gladys Opoku were free. So by extension, Oyemi Bushani paternally. And so Mimi say, I won't further go ahead and do whatever the family even asked me to do. How much less? How much very, very less you worked for somebody? Hey, and you say, come here. I can you know my Jumaneka, we are, and you polar, and a cabana capola, make one of my Coty Polar Foundation. In Safwa Poku transport by now, and you see, and Kasafu Hotel, no. And then Safu Hotel is also a family. Yeah. And by now, the Kabana Kamatiti Foundation, baby. Because these are men, these are men of higher repute and higher standing. This is Professor Mills. Wa mo bra. Se uti wi ase na wa mo bra. Na wani ma guasia. Wo ko kache Atta Mills say on tran na ni wo mu. Many kwaku nim Atta Mills. Why na ni awu ya wade agon ye fe na agon when you awu what ferry kotoponi afere. You don't behave like that when you have virtues.
Also koku enye nania ntine ya na meka se munya
mama nka se ncho mo na muso so eyi so no mani be ye ebi obi ye fuyisem obi din fuyisem a katse ni pen unu no One thing na no go bedwam ko guni ho anim ase no. The Bible asks us a very simple question. What has the living got to do with the dead? Apart from the Yeki Kefa Professor Mills win for others to emulate in future when they want to become president or when they want to live a better life for a better eulogy. They said, yeah, Kikanya. Apart from that, what has the living got to do with the dead? Yen we are saying some bosom, yen some moon. But ni nioma o ye no ni sune ne ban nioma ya Kikan yesua me. It has dawned on me to be upright. What must I say? Say be a dachi bi me pese bi a me ba be ye nipa bi say me ba be so me man a me ma me so me man e me fa ekufo do suba boni we e fa ntana mamu be ye sunsum e fa me tana man so me nye. And these are things that I think say remarkably and what say you can asem. And then the last word from me, Abusiano esiki a public. Your friend is saying, to help them, or say, or the about public opinion. Say a count enti ana account tuntino. Mesume di manu betum asre. Say, obi bia obeti say, Atta Mills hyphen, yede hyphen, Atta Mills, yede hyphen, Ansah Institute, bibiano. In fact, with the family's permission, let us treat it with the most contempt it deserves, because they have told us in a very simplistic manner. Say, one, it is unauthorized, it's unsanctioned, it's unappreciated, and it is most unwelcome. Let us treat Kweku Anyido, who's Atta Mills with apostrophe and whatever hyphen or whatever he calls it, institute, with the contempt it deserves. Illegality. Whoever attaches him or herself to it is an illegal person, and we should treat it with the contempt it deserves.
Okay, all right, quick one. Ansah the Jatta Senior says, I am watching you guys live from Osu, so we have Jatta Senior. And as usual, Fake and his tantrums.
So, a 30th anniversary, he said, your friend say, me busa wo say me wa nyama me request you. Your pictures he Bole. Mama Lodina.
Yeah. I think your baby last one we are trying to. Kobe Fiagbe, Kobe, what see champagne for you? I don't know lectures now. Or? Okay. But I hope so. You have taken your time to listen to the various speakers about
Hey, Kobe, your eyes, your eyelash are growing grey.
Yes,
Debbie, agro
Debbie.
My didn't
you no, so nanu. Why dey na?
Wa no nwa for gine wo koka cho bi se obi
my didn't you kakra.
Eyelash there.
Wa shise na yamya shise na niama no.
What do you say, cool?
Anyway, let's go.
Tuesday, 24th July 2012. Namiwo office. The first person to call me was Jijote of blessed memory.
Oh.
And a friend, Kobe Boy, and I'm seeing the office. I'll say, okay, I will call you back. She didn't call back. Somebody else also called me. Also, Anthony Anka, me. So then later on, then Kwaku called me and said, "This is what has happened." Kwaku was, I think, the third person to call me.
Yeah.
And I said, "Wow." A month before 24th July 2012, I think somewhere on the middle of June 15th or 18th thereabout, Prof. Mills, no, I think around June, Prof. Mills issued a release saying, "Me koye medical checkup ewo abrochire namaba." Oh yes, release no say or call medical checkup or abrochiri abano. Nana Akufo-Addo issue statement say I wish you speedy recovery. Emma omani nyina bufuye because se obisi mi koye medical checkup. How do you assume say he is going for medical treatment for which reason you are wishing him a speedy recovery? Nyina ya no abom say he is wishing him Professor Mills dead.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember those stories.
Yeah.
And untino se ene se koku minua koku etumi ekoton Atta Mills ema
etanfo
obia na always Atta Mills dead, all in the name of a supposed Asomdwe Park. Okay? And people have to know something. Asomdwe Park ne ohono. When the decision was taken to have the Asomdwe Park, no, I know, say, the decision was taken to develop the park in line with the Marine Drive project, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, what was done was only a temporary thing, so that as the Marine Drive project is developing now, it will be developed along with the Marine Drive. Now, a bit fitty into it. It is a see anu the moye no. The Marine Drive project neba will it be remain the way it is, and as a bubunu a different thing, because the Marine Drive project has its own designs and everything. Okay. I don't know whether what they have done right now is a component of the Marine Drive or not.
Because the architecture is not.
You understand? So there is a bigger plan for the place to fit into the Marine Drive project. Now, because of personal glorification, say and that is proven by the how do you call it, the epithets that they put at the place there. It is about their personal glory. Glorify me, Kwaku Anido, and glorify President Akufo-Addo, and put his a billboard big there. Thank you, President Akufo-Addo, as if say he has done something. You understand? Look, those of us who have some relationship with President Mills, of course, we ain't but having access to him, we know him as a man. President Mills or to say Jerry Rawlings in one aspect, the aspect of I don't want you to praise me in my lifetime. If you have good things to say about me, don't say it in my presence. Say it where it matters so people will hear. And that is why I feel proud when these notable citizens with impeccable record and in public life come out and they spoke the way they spoke about Prof. It made me... Honestly, the reason why I couldn't start the program was like anytime... Emotional. Yeah, it makes me highly emotional.
Okay.
Adrian Kassiena Prof. Mills Ewoma Ghana and not John Mahama Tuasu truncating in 2016. No. Say Akufo-Addo, even just that one thing, say yebe pesikama ebusiafo, but yema nkambom enye adwuma ewo Ghana abra ye pesikama ebusiafo a na otuasa nkambom agenda no so a. Let me give you an example of the divisive nature of Akufo-Addo as compared to the nation-building characteristics of John Mahama and John Mills. In 2014, we had a huge problem with the economy as a result of NMSC from 2012 on the global landscape. President Mahama decided to say, look, Me na yetu abamami. I mean, my we have all the authority and the how do you call it, the right to make every decision we want to make. They said yeah, but on mine here no, I drink nyasa any baku for trim, and untino yan fresh Ghana for war and India was our subject no. Near Nina Court Nancy near to I drink near share a choir ye be faso I on mine every and the of Fred be a friend of Saint Forum. Akufo I issue edict. How do you say edict in tree? A fatwa like I issue fatwa. MPP ni biya on him now, but you know the party will sanction him. And the MPP as a party boycotted Senchi.
And to add to their work, or Savma on his way, friends once.
Yes, because there was an edict. If you go, we will sanction you. I could drop for no to say Ansah. Yeah. Kwame Pianim Noa, or more the Moya Madrin said Ghana in the HH3 and yeah MPP. MPP be two Ghana. Say Ghana ye MPP be ye. Say Ghana ye MPP ye no. Omo Mfi Akufo-Addo ena omo bae ena omo di omo adwin be boae e ma ye formulate bibia friend Senchi consensus and not form the basis for the program that John Mahama took to the IMF, which was being run was to end in 2018. Akufo-Addo bae no or extended. And when I hear them say we come and took Ghana from IMF, the program was going to end 2018. You extended it for another 1 year. Why did you extend it if it was such a bad thing?
And why was also another program?
Why did you extend it if it was such a bad thing?
And even Sikabe also 2017, 2018, who you sue?
Out of 912, Oyusu, John Mahama got about 300. They got about $600 million.
Today, we are in a worse economic crisis than we were in 2014. People are calling for similar things. What do you say? Say no. Authority. And we are not going to have your views. The same attitude when John Mahama said, look, let's call a forum on free education and education in general to find to build a consensus on how we want this project to go so that it becomes a national consensus. Everybody has a buy-in. See, no. It is my vision. While free education is not your vision, it's a constitutional imperative.
How about the framework of the Constitution?
You see, and so when this man gets up 24 July 2022 and walks to Asundwe Park and bowing down before the bust of Professor Mills, I see total hypocrisy. I feel pain. I feel betrayed by my brother Koku. I feel that he has betrayed Professor Mills unimaginably. Look, I can imagine Prof cringing. That Koku, I'm there. I don't expect this kind of backstabbing. Because this is pure backstabbing. You understand? This is a man who had absolutely no respect for Professor Mills in his lifetime.
Absolutely no regard for him at all.
Absolutely no respect for Professor Mills to the point of calling him Professor Doolittle. Some will say, "Oh, yeah, call your name, and we must learn to forget." But you see, we forgive the past. We don't forget the past. The past is always the light to the future.
But even in forgiving, you must see someone who has shown remorse for his action.
If you have people who forget their history, they get lost. Like my brother has gotten lost. Because if he remembered the history, I don't think he would go and virtually sell Professor Mills to people who wished him dead even when he was alive.
Yeah.
You understand? And it pains me. Look, besides Bobie, how many times I've told him I don't want to talk about all these things. Because look, I spoke with Ludwig, I spoke with Angola, I spoke with Nilante Vadapoy, I spoke with all the young guys who were together with around the prof at the time, and everybody was like, you know what, let's leave him. Even when Koku went and sat at a Sapphire FM and spoke lies about me, I kept quiet. In relation to how his personal money was the one that he was used to set up the Ghanaian Lens, I kept quiet. Because
he's a damn liar.
He's a liar.
Because
pathological.
When somebody is seeking attention and you engage, in the end, that is what you are giving him.
Yeah, he achieves his.
You understand? Yeah. So that day, in fact, I was furious. I don't know if you remember, we were at Whispers.
Yeah.
I was furious, so I called Angola. I said, look, Angola, I'm going. Then Angola called me, calm down. Angola talked to me, calm down. Then I called Nilante. Nilante was like, oh, Charlie, memory. I called Ludwig. Ludwig was like, oh, you know. And I called some of our junior boys, Olabi and Co. And so, you know, but Prof was a great man. Let me not digress. Prof was a great man. Ghana lost not just a president. We lost somebody who was going to build this country. And out of that loss, we had the good fortune of John Mahama following up and not dismantling what the Prof had begun, but actually continued with it. Even though in his quest to make money for he and his family is what he wanted, Nasa still the Nkambom attitude. No, let's bring everybody on board. Let's move together as a nation. Ekoswa and Kanyanin and this mess, because then you would have recognized that when people are telling you, say, baby, or mine, look, as far back as 2019, just after the IMF was leaving their program, we were claiming before, just after we went to have that party at the say we are exited IMF triple victory, party, we saw the sign that this country was going into a ditch. We were telling them that because no. How do you start a government by cutting down your revenue sources when you have the revenue now? We build nation on taxes. We build nation with taxes. When you were cutting the revenue sources back in 2017 in the name of that populist agenda, say John Mahama taxation. What do you think you are doing? Didn't you know that you need that money to build a nation? Today you are coming back to tell me, say we the tax in the boy. You see that my trimacoy attitude I'm telling you. So how do you start that? Cut down revenue sources and then jack up your expenditure with free senior high school is good, very good, but the implementation, that is why John Mahama was doing it with the gradualist approach. So we expand it as and when our means is able to. In the meantime, let's hold this place. So the gradualist approach, expanding it as and when the means, and not just the means for 1 year, but sustainably. Then you come and say, John Mama no ni my dear, and teacher training allowance. John Mama see, look, teacher training allowance, we are going to replace it with student loan. Student loan is such say sikano ekwa ebetumi asamba. There may be defaults. There may be defaulters. But nursing and teachers, the rate of default will even be negligible. Unless nipa ne free adwuma no mu I want to know film but nipa no adwuma no mu kwa dia no na udi man because you be deducting it as source easy as here and the default rate will be negligible and that money will continue to come back and service others so it will become like a revolving fund but when who turn all the money per krone and no okwa and no and you are not thinking. Because if this is a man who shows that I'm thinking about sustainability of the program. Oh, the program. On him, you remember, the anno and the teacher and training, the unknown teacher and training, nursing training allowances. But government has released funds. Government has released funds. And so funds and call and then do teacher for no former. Almost there are people who are owed over a year of allowance, others about 7 months and all that in a team. You understand? So this is the kind of people that if you have servant leaders like the way Chachu described Professor Mills, servant leaders now, you think about how much vote you will get, but how is your policy impacting the present generation and also helping to prepare adequately for the next generation. That is what leaders do. That was what Professor Mills stood for. That was what John Mahama stands for. You understand? And until Professor Mills, dear, if we eulogize him, we can never eulogize him enough. We can never eulogize him enough as a country. And he's one leader who has passed. Yes, ordinarily Ghana for obia yenka nipa echi asemboni so okone krachia yenka ne asemboni. But in fact, even if you set out to say something bad about Bobie Mills, there is none.
Media, I go for the American chair some
now who you I didn't know who you David Nasa dear cannot yes, no one ever goes away. What you say? Now, Professor Mills or Tiasian will be him. In fact, it got to a point, even NDC4 crab bufu say, Prof. I can't crana a man for say a jabby. You understand? But he is calm. He is slow to anger, but when he is angry too, he makes sure that he lets you know that he is angry with you. That was Prof. Mills. He doesn't hide his feelings, but he's slow to anger. He takes his time to listen and comes to a decision. But once he comes to that decision, it also takes time to change his mind from that decision. That is the Prof. Mills that I got to know. You understand? And I wish, say, those of us who say we have been close to him to a certain degree, of course, we are closer than Ebinu, but those of us who have had chance to get close to him will reflect those things, especially in our, when we are claiming to be doing things in his name or in his memory. Amen.
Thank you. Tall. And your energy ministry. And since in Wadaruma, a shasi and Rawma, a Cassandra, Msewa Koya Japani, what a year tall for what the Kiako won't put a pain and no Makushia and then Ra one side a share tall any energy ministry GMPC. What are my idea?
Yam would be no more one, said you, your man no cranning yet. And your mammy who said, no marker with papers torn and yet no cray. Will be over one can of crano, one fine chirp or four. Minjina baby can say GMPC for a normal croyle. Woman Jina, woman name and fan matter. Yes, sir. The catcher and say, ye could meet. Let me see. A bit to baby no GMPC, the Bemato. The young quantance in Yanshe and Bira GMPC, the Bemato. A son say, Bibiano, a sawiya preparation. Mimiti way, mature letter, me they are common Nigeria for. Said oil nom the man, GMP for the Mfama. Miss Ansah, and Charles, I let any view. So, Mumfama tall. Miss Anamicas at all for an uncle. No corano, and yejuma. They do baby at Miss Round, no cran in yejuma. Messa me ye, man, no cran in yejuma. May.
All right, so just a short audio, an interview between myself and the late Professor Mills, just for remembrance. And Tina Mebo Wino, and a Saturday morning. On my part, I think I spent some time around Professor Mills, and through Kobe Fiagbe, my boss empire from for my first friend at Minyan, but Minyano, my first friend on a certain normal basis. Now, Okoyadie, the Miss me Koyadie, me quite no subo baby, a yardie no. A ho, and a young fashion say, and now quite say, oh, bravo, also, Miniam so oba, Nima. I was bravo, Ross was soon. Samis, and I was see, that's where it started. And Sana Kwabena introduced me ma Kokonyi do, and ye beye and now for 4. And eventually, no Kwabena Koku and ma many President Mills a year close. Not because of them, but because I saw something. I was able to meet Akufo-Addo on 2 occasions. Obina deme so sa corner chain, but I never liked to stay around him. Me free obi am catch any pan say I don't feel cool with Akufo-Addo. Or say Ade. Now say no. Me run wo pie bia. The vibes are not. The vibes are minya o me body muno. And the second time was Kuku Spencer. And Kuku di me kwa, and it was around 1 a.m. He gave us money and I rejected. And you see about na Kuku say Kwabena Ogumenu was saying, so I don't feel like taking something from him. Minima the cry prevent me. But BB stop me not to take anything from him. And that is my belief. Let me walk away. So I just walked away. Magnet, etch magnet. Sunsum chi sunsum. Professor Mills, in my all-time I got only 50 Ghana cedis from him. That's proof. And so my staunch belief in him and my support for him was and is not born out of my personal interest. It's born out of the characteristics of me leadership style, though human, though fallible, but on a larger scale, you believe that yes, we share nipa. He won't sit down and plan evil, how to bring you down, destroy you, kill you, or need time. If I don't know anything about Prof, I believe one thing, that if we have any God representation on earth, probably he is one of them. And I'm done with my words. Let me do this. Make our mouth force a year Jean Naturalist clinic a year screening every 4th MHA a Juada. A castle too, but from Grief Scientific Backling, don't say. Kobe, quick one.
Yes, my father, tsunami in Fanya Mishra Kase, any congratulations, Emma, Oman Penny. Dada John Dramani Mahama, any Nahoka for Lodina Mahama.
30 years.
30 years of marriage. You know more, you 20 no, we know how very tedious it has been. And he said 30 years of 30 years of marriage, you know. It shows you the patience, it shows you the love, it shows you the endurance, the tolerance, and all that. And little wonder that their children are doing well in every sphere of their lives.
All right.
And it's, you know, Ghana phone na cremonio traditionalist or Christian munyina muko to Jesua mubom pa evanshira omo na nyamishwa enguswa engari omo
so Monday we'll work on it. Nyami and na Elikem Kotoko birthday. And Elikem baby I will be on happy birthday to you. Elikem Kotoko, one from Kobe Fiagbe, Kwajo Yabua, Listowell, Kwame Kwachi, myself, CMG, Elikem Kotoko, bro. God bless you. Good morning. I'm done. I'm out. Keep safe. Enjoy your weekend.